I'm here with Dave Keaggy, 93-and-a-half-year-old friend here in his shop. And Dave is showing me a product that he developed and has been producing, right?
Yes.
For many years. Since what year?
1989.
1989. And it's for an industrial kitchen.
Yes,
correct?
commercial kitchens,
tell-
hospitals, prisons, schools, to mount on the wall for cleaning. In the pot wash area, the dishwash area, the janitor's area, and then outside in the waste can cleaning.
Okay. So what is the advantage to the way you make it? And have been.
Well, years ago, I was a designer of commercial food service for many years, 30-some years. And in the old days, we bought a hose reel separate. And then you bought everything else in separate components that's required by code to give you a sanitary condition and a safe condition. And the parts would get stolen, or the parts would get lost, or they'd forget to put them in the wall, then they'd have to cut the wall open and repipe it. So I thought a simpler way is to package everything, mount it on the wall, hook the hot and cold water to it, and that's it.
Okay.
So come on over here and I'll show you what it looks like on the inside. There's a special hose reel with a 25-foot hose. This hose is designed for high temperature water, 175 degrees, down to cold water. Has stainless steel connections on it. Lead free. Everything in this particular model is lead free. All the brass, the copper, and so that complies with codes in California. They're very strict about that.
Sure.
So this can provide potable water, even though it's primarily designed for cleaning up, taking the waste off of cooking pans and so forth. So I developed a unique way to mount it, and it only takes about 20 minutes once it's on the job, and if they have a little bit of experience, this comes complete. Now these are required. This is a atmospheric vacuum breaker, and this is required in case that hose were left in a floor sink in a commercial kitchen and they lost the water supply. That creates a vacuum in the line, and it can suck contaminated water back through the freshwater line. This prevents that. It can't go any further than this. It shuts the line off. This is incoming water. Shuts that off, and it'll drip out through here, and then you'll know that what's happening. See? So that's a requirement. Then these are check valves. And so whenever you bring hot and cold water together, and there's a problem where, say, you lose the cold water and a vacuum's created, it'll suck the hot water back to the cold water line. These check valves prevent that. You can bring water in here, but it can't go any further except down here. It cannot go back through the other line. So that's required by code. And then the unique part of this is my design of the wall plate and the base plate and the cover. They're all made out of aluminum. This goes on the wall, and I provide everything required. I provide the bolts, the drill, so that they have it right with them, and they drive a nail in here on the wall, then they put a level on it, and then they drill 4 holes. This will go on the wall, and they mark it, drill 4 holes, put the lag screws in, and that mounts the base plate. Then, once that's on, now this is your kitchen wall. So they take the whole unit like this, set it in these grooves, and that's it. Now then, you bring the hot and cold water lines down anywhere up in here.
Mm-hmm.
And these are also supplied by me. So all they have to do, this is a special engineered, they call them shark bite fittings. You just shove that down in there and it seals.
Oh, is that right?
And there's no tightening up.
Does it tapers? Is that how it does it?
There's a spring locking device.
Oh, okay.
And it locks in there, and then you need a tool to take it back out.
Okay.
But then these two go in, and then they hook up to the existing water lines. This gets soldered onto the end of the water line. And so they can disassemble it and dismount it at any time. See?
What's the alternative for people who are not using this?
Well, imagine a pot washing area. You've got a 3-compartment sink, and that's required by law. You have a disposer, a lot of waste coming in, and you've got to scrub. Say there's 50 bake sheets come out of the bakery.
Yeah.
Like in a prison, you may have 100 bake sheets, 2,000 inmates. And so it's a big, heavy-duty operation, and it's got to be done fast. So they pull this out, and you just hit the spray, and they take the bulk food off a tray. Then it goes into the 3-compartment sink for washing. The 3rd compartment is sanitizing. When it comes out of there, it's ready to go back on a rack. Or if it's a really big operation, they have an automatic pot and pan washing machine that they go into, just like dishwashing. And they come out sanitized at 180 degrees when the final rinse goes on. And so in order to use this, you need all this to make it comply with sanitation codes and operational codes. And so we provide it in a package. And it's been very popular. I don't market it. I don't have a brochure. People in the food service industry that are designers like I was at one time specify it in the job.
Okay.
So when it goes out for contract and it gets bid, then that particular successful bidder will purchase.
Okay.
This is part of their kitchen package.
Yeah. So how many of these could you produce? What's your capacity?
Oh, I've never been up to full capacity. But I can assemble one in 5 hours. So that means if I get an order, I've got an order for 2 down there, and last month I had an order for 3 and 2. And so 5 times 5 hours, 25, half a week. It goes fast.
Yeah.
Now I solder everything. I do all these components. I'll show you down here. So I buy all these components, and by the way, they're marked lead-free on them. And then I solder them up into sub-assemblies. And I keep these in here so they don't discolor. And these are for future units.
Okay.
And then this is an interesting item I'm adding. And it'll be the first time. You bring the hot and cold water down here instead of through those check valves. And this has a control. And you just turn this to regulate the temperature that you want, see. That does turn, believe it or not. And then you mix it till you get, you're not allowed over 120 degrees. So 105 degrees would be good to have the water coming out of the spray head. So this is going to be added to my system. And then I'll have that included also.
Well, I just love that you are the age that you are, and that you're actively, you still run a little business, and
well, it's a lot of people sit around.
yeah.
At my age, they're just sitting and they're walking with canes, and bless their heart. But this keeps me busy. It doesn't make me a lot of money. If I wanted to make a lot of money, I'd go into business.
Yeah.
And start producing them seriously. But I don't. I've got maybe a 3-state area that I work in. I'm comfortable with that, and I can work any hours I want.
Would you like to increase sales to some degree, or do you have the volume that you would like right now?
Well, I'm happy with what I'm doing, but there's got to be a time that I have to look at that I might want to sell the little business. And I'm nearing that time. Maybe by the end of the year, I'll look for someone that wants to take it up and work with it, either as a side business or get serious and go nationwide with it. There's no reason they couldn't sell it. It's priced right. It's competitive with anybody else in the business. Most of the other manufacturers that supply these, they supply a cabinet with all this stuff in.
Okay.
But that cabinet gets mounted in the wall, which means you've got to cut out a space, and the plumbing has to come down inside the wall. So if there's any leaks ever involved, you've got a real problem. You're cutting out the wall.
Oh, yeah.
Where I just bring specify the hot and cold line to come down the outside of the wall, snap in the connections, and there it is.
Yeah.
If there's a leak at any time, you see it.
Yeah.
See?
Beautiful.
And
it's a great design. I'm impressed.
But the biggest thing here, maybe I mentioned it to you. This particular reel is a patented reel that I don't make, I purchase. And it's made in Arizona. And they make a lot of them, but not for water. They make them for air. So I buy the hoses special from another manufacturer.
Okay.
And when I order the reels, I take the hoses into their factory, and they'll put my hoses on.
Okay.
And then I put my own spray heads on. These are all stainless steel. But this reel has a patent on it that has a controlled rewind. So say I pull this out 20 feet. Now, a regular hose reel, you let go of that. Like in a garage, and you'll say, woo!
Yeah.
It rewinds and snaps around and can hit people.
Yeah.
And these are going into prisons, these particular two. So they like to fool around with things. So to joke, they would pull that all the way out and then let it fly. And if it hit someone, ha 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 ha.
Yeah.
I shouldn't say that, but that's happened. That's actually happened in conditions.
But this one won't do that.
It won't.
Yeah.
It slowly winds it back up all by itself.
Very
Quite
nice.
unique.
Engineered by a brilliant man here.
Well, I didn't engineer the slow rewind.
I know, but the whole unit.
Well, thank you.
You can take more credit than you're taking. Dave, thank you so much for sharing. I'm inspired by you. I think a lot of people are inspired by you.
Well, I appreciate you coming over. In all the years I'm doing this, maybe a half a dozen people I've invited in to see them because, it's just a private little business, and you're a good friend of mine, and
Yeah.
I wanted you to see us. At least I'll have a record of what I did when I was younger.
At the young age of 93. Yes. Awesome. Thank you very much.
Okay. Take care. Have a good one.